Okay. So I'd like to just emphasize this one, because Duncan and I have been talking, Ram Dass, about this theme, no death, no fear, and you know, some of it has gotten very weighty, obviously, this kind of a subject, and so it is surfacing fear in many people, and I'm going to let Duncan express that, but I just want to remind what we're looking for is back in this beautiful shloka or poem from Milarepa, who's the great Tibetan yogi. Fearing death, I went to the mountains. Over and over again, I meditated on death's unpredictable coming. I took the stronghold of the deathless, unchanging nature. Now I am completely beyond all fear of dying. So I think we're looking into that, and we've called it many different things, from soul to Buddha mind, nirvana, the deathless, unchanging nature that is in every one of us. And our reference is Neem Karoli Baba, of actually being with that nature and then going from there to cultivate it through various practices and immersing ourselves in this kind of a satsang. At the same time, and Duncan helps us by reminding that there's natural tendencies in each one of us that we don't want to use spiritual bypass, just thinking and intellectualizing that, oh yeah, we can find it, yeah, unchanging nature, yeah, no fear, no problem, that kind of a thing, which anyone from the youngest person that's here to the oldest person, we are all still, while we're in a body, dealing with, unless we are Maharaji. So you need to express a little bit of what you expressed to me earlier about this.
Well, many of us here don't want to die.
Many of us.
And, well, I mean, you know, when I walked in and you all were talking about death, I was instantly pissed off, like I got angry. My reaction to it is anger at first, because, well, it brings up a lot of stuff for me personally. My mom died of cancer, I got cancer. It's, you know, it's not something pleasant to think about. And I think a lot of people here, I don't know how many of you, when you hear people start talking about death and deep, long descriptions of agonizing death. And outside, you know, it's been fascinating for me listening to some of these stories of death. I mean, it really got to me. 2 mornings ago, I woke up. It's like 5 a.m. and I was watching a video of a man being eaten by a bear.
Why?
Why am I doing? Because I'm in a retreat about death. But you know, it's an interesting dichotomy, I think, because in the midst of these stories about people dying, you look out there and there's this beautiful ocean and it's blue skies, and you know, all you got to do is get up, go to your room, get a snorkel, and dive in. And you're not going to be in like a Bikram yoga level retreat where people are talking about death. And so I think many people here are experiencing something that I've experienced on mushrooms. And there's Terence McKenna says, the way you know you've taken the right amount of mushrooms is you think you're about to die. And my experience has been, when that comes up through psychedelics, this anger, this fear, this resistance, that the moment that I let myself die, let it kill me, surrender to it, it becomes the most beautiful experience. But as long as I'm fighting it, it's a miserable trip. So my feeling through this retreat has been a combination of anger at my own mortality and the fact that death exists, mixed in with this sense of beauty and how wonderful it is to be surrounded by so many beautiful people who are so filled with love, and that these two things seem to be smashing together at the same time, and we get to pick which one to focus on, it seems like. So I guess I'd rather spend time focusing on love than what am I gonna look like when I die? Is Roshi Joan gonna hold me when I die? So yeah, that's how I've been feeling.
So maybe Ramdas, you can comment about can you help him, please, about resistance to getting close to fear rather than running from it when death is this so integral, and the theme of what we're doing is constant. We're constantly talking about that, and just even the word itself conjures up, you know, immediately fear comes. So, and resistance follows there, along with his anger and so on. Can you address resistance?
This body is 87. And I'm getting close to dying. This body is a vehicle for this plane of consciousness. I am the soul in this body. When I identify with my soul, I have no fear of death. This is change, change, change. In this plane is change, change, change. Change. the kids. I've been surprised that I have a son. I found out about him when I was 73 and he was 50. Change. Being a soul, I've had many deaths. So what is a big deal for another one? The ego is death. The ego is frightened of death because it's going to be swept away. But your soul, with your soul, no frighten, no anger. The soul, the death is a rite of passage for us souls. We're going to pass from all this and I anticipate that I will be a soul after death. A woman said to me, my husband has died. Shouldn't I should be close to him, soul to soul. I said, that is depending about that you were in love with him and he with you. I look forward to Soul Land. It's a bardo. If you identify yourself with your soul, then you see other people as souls. These individual differences are background, a background. And a soul loves every soul. Maharaji said to me, Ram Dass, love everybody. I can't, Maharaji. I can't because of the judge. Of the judge. Then he said, Ram Dass, love everybody. And tell the truth. And I sort of used that. He was I used it in my sadhana. My path. Going through playing went through astral planes. But then I got Soul Land. Soul Land. I loved everybody. I tell the truth. This is it. He instructed me to identify with my soul. Is this the right?
I have a question, or you and I talked, but this is back to the resistance, the thing that
That's what you
yeah,
said.
yeah, Duncan brought up. That's okay.
That's his mind.
That's everybody's mind. Resistance.
Raghu, may I interrupt you just briefly? Just briefly. I'm so sorry. Baba, I'm so sorry to say it. If it's love everyone and tell the truth, might I just say the truth? And I think it's another thing many of us are thinking, and I don't know how much it's come up. I guess to put it into perspective, you know I just got married because you did the marriage. I'm deeply the best thing ever. The best thing ever. But if Erin, my wife, said to me, Duncan, I'm going to Soul Land, I would be devastated because there's no phones in Soul Land. There's no emails in Soul Land. Soul Land, you are gone. You are in Soul Land as a soul, swimming with pods of dolphin souls and ecstatic reverie. But we're still here in Earthland, and we're gonna miss you so much. And it's not easy for us to think, oh, Ram Dass has turned into a soul, because our hearts are gonna be broken. And these ideas, it's true, it's true. I will do that.
You know, this is what I was talking to you about some time back. We were talking about death, and we were talking about you being closer, and you said one of the things that really keeps me in this, because I'm not afraid to die, is the many people being at these retreats and all of the people that are blossoming. That is just something so great for my heart. It keeps me here. And yet, at the same time, there is this little, must be some, I'm projecting, we talked about it a little bit, attachment to this love. Attachment to the love that is between you and all of these people in every moment. And so is there any resistance, because, and that's what he's just talking about, the attachment that happens when somebody close to you leaves, and the attachment also that we have, of course, to our own. We're not completely free, so our egos, there's that fear. So that resistance, how do you deal with the resistance? There must be something in there related to the attachment of love.
And also, what do we do without you?
One thing at a time.
The soul has the witness in the soul. And that witnesses your incarnation and your thoughts. That's the two levels. This level was, I stay here. I still here. I witness this from the soul. I witness my fallacies, my compassion, my attachments. I'm either attached from, I'm attached to your love. Yeah. And then I say, look at him, his ego is showing. He's showing. Those two levels, you can witness your life, your incarnation. You witness it all. That's what aging is. Aging is that witnessing. And then I have to attachments. It's a movie. A movie which on the leading actor. Let's see how he does this. Wow. So I'm in, and you get attached to this box, this individual. For example, a lot of us that are here and were in India with Maharaji. And I was on my father's farm. And they sent a telegram to me from India. And the telegram said, Maharaji left his bojay.
It was a mistake in the telegram. Bojay. So that's what we call it now.
So my father got the telegram. And he said, that's just, did he misplace his watch or something? And so I called everybody from the United States. Everybody was with him.
You say that so lightly. Oh, I just called everybody and told them, and we all got together. And I remember the calls, the worst thing that ever happened to me.
There we go. Then we gathered at the farm. And I was going through stuff in my mind. The people in the group were different reactions. Crying. And I didn't cry. I wasn't crying. And because Maharaji and I are soul buddies. And the fact that he was in a body, so what? So what? Even he had transition, was the same Maharaji. That's what I was saying to that woman. The love between you is soul love. And that will love above death. Death is, love is, encompassed, we are all encompassed with Ram, with the One. With love, with love. But she said to me, I don't want my husband that love, that I want my husband soul to soul. You got it. You got it. You got it. Attachments, attachments, attachments.
It's big though, attachment.
Huh?
Big. Attachment is big. You talk about when we got together in New Hampshire and you were not feeling, many people were weeping, other people were maybe doing the spiritual bypass. He's everywhere, it's okay, but not really being in that spot. And if you remember, just everybody here, and to give Duncan some due for the kind of questions he's asking about being, it's mainly about we are human. When we were with Maharaji and he'd come out into the veranda and go onto his tucket, we'd all just about kill each other to get as close as possible and hang on for dear life, okay? Ram Dass would not do that. Ram Dass would always be on the, I don't ever remember sitting next to Ram Dass with Maharaji unless it was specific that Maharaji said, come, I want to talk to you. The thing about Christ, for instance. So we did react like that because maybe you've had another extra, million incarnations to get to know that the soul does not die, the body dies, and it's just So I'm just, vibing with you a little bit that the human quality that is in all of us was in those of us that were in India with Maharaji, and when he left there was one of us who, like for 30 years, couldn't get over it. Literally, he spent the most time with Maharaji of any of us. So, and that was Maharaji letting him do that. Now, just to move on to something you said many years ago, you talked about, people asked you, how are you so sure about the soul, about the fact that we are not this body and we do go through incarnation and incarnation, deathless, true nature, whatever soul, we can call it many different things, but they asked you about that. And what came up was a trust, because you trusted, and you've said this before, you trusted the mushrooms when you first took them, that they gave you a glimpse of reality. You trusted some of the reading that you had done from the Tibetan Book of the Dead, which you did a whole book on, and of course Maharaji. And one of the great stories that has been told here by our mentor, and Ram Dass Indian brother K.K. Shah. Some of you know this, but there's many of you who don't. K.K. went out on a boat in Allahabad to the Sangam, which is the confluence of the Ganges, Yamuna, and Saraswati, which is underground. And it's a very holy spot where gigantic melas are, where millions of people come together at a certain auspicious time every year, but every 12 years, you know, literally 20 million people get together. Maharaji went out on a boat to that confluence with KK. And they're in the middle there of the river, and he says, KK, jump. And KK goes, no, I can't jump. No, KK, jump. He said, no, Maharaji, I'm afraid. And basically, as Ramesh pointed out, KK can't swim. Okay, so that was a problem. And Maharaji said, you see that bridge? There's a very high bridge down the river. He said, you could go up on that bridge and you could jump and you are not going to die unless you're supposed to. It is absolutely impossible. So KK then got the courage. He thought to himself, Maharaji, how could I have lose faith? He jumped in the river, it came up to his knees. So these stories, and being with Maharaji, the story we told the other day of him eating those chapatis and dal, so somebody would not have that desire right at the end before they passed. These kinds of things, and the psychedelics, and the reading, lent trust to Ram Dass to be able to say the things he said over the years, and now, of course, that's even more matured because of his dealing with people dying for so many years, and now dealing with his own closeness. So that's a big thing for everybody here to realize, that trust, you know, trust in what Ram Dass or other teachers from Roshi, and in this case, and Frank and Bob and all of us, that is certainly something that cuts through resistance, and that's what.
I completely know what you're saying, and I do trust y'all completely. But might I say, the story, the mango story, and if you're thinking about a mango when you die, you become a bug.
You might.
Come on, man. That's if we start thinking about that stuff, and I know maybe he didn't mean it literally,
no.
But the implication here is like, okay, mango bug. Like, why wouldn't you turn into a mango? I'm just saying, with these kinds of things, that it points to some kind of insane last thought economy, you know, like if you think about a porcupine, you'll become a spider. If you think, like, how does that work? It seems to me that some of this stuff is, and I mean this with all due respect, because I truly have been transformed by all of this, but some of this stuff seems, for lack of a better word, a little musty or something, right? Like I just, now I know for sure what I'm going to be thinking about when I die. A mango!
God, we'll get you off that somehow. And,
okay, great.
You know, and you'll have to come here at 2:30 where Bob will elucidate that a little bit more, okay?
I mean, every bug we look at, that's somebody who was thinking about mangoes? Oh God, I'm not going to repeat it, but I want to. I'm going to, because I'm trying to be a dad. I'm allowed to do dad jokes now. He said, it's really bugging you.
One thing that Ram Dass, I think you should, in terms of trust, and you spent time with an out-of-body being named Emmanuel, who did share with you some really, I think, important. We have not, through this whole retreat, talked about that. Can you share some of what Emmanuel shared with you about death?
He's an uncle of mine in my my worldview. And he came from another side, the other side, and he said, death is absolutely safe. And then he said, it's like taking off a tight shoe. Safe. You know, you can say, you can see all this as theater, as real. You think you're real, don't you? I was in India, and a tsunami struck Bangladesh, and I was in the mountains at Maharaji. And I had a Volkswagen bus. And I decided I would take it to Bangladesh. Maybe I could use it as an ambulance. And I told Maharaji, and he said, it's all perfect. It's all perfect. That's from another plane. That's the God plan. It's all perfect. It's all perfect. Those beings are dying that way. It's perfect. And I share that I'd be careful with it. Be careful. Kate, who lost her 14-year-old, you don't say it's all perfect. You know inside that it is all perfect. it's all perfect. This body is all perfect.
Is that not like what you say often, living two planes at the same time, right? Is that not what that
Three
is?
planes.
Three.
This plane, the soul plane, and the God plane.
Perfect, where it's perfect.
And you got three planes. The God plane, it's within and all where it's surrounding and in all of us. In all of us. Maybe you get it from your intuition. Intuition. It's all perfect. But that could be a knife. Or a heart.
That can also be a way we bypass totally grieving, totally feeling, right? By intellectualizing, it's that plane. I'm going to get away from this plane. I mean, is that not something?
It's not, it's not a intellectual
concept.
Huh?
Concept,
yeah. Concept. I've seen, you know, that plane is, you can't, words. We can communicate with words. And words and concepts in my mind. Heart to heart. Soul to soul. I have another controversial issue. A fellow came to me and said, "You speak to your dead guru." I said, "Yeah." He said, "That's your imagination." I said, "Yeah." In my consciousness, there's a room called imagination. And Maharaji and I meet in it. Up here, they decide, is that imagination or It's real. Shut up. We have conversations. Yeah. I don't know where it is.
Do you know that since you've been talking about this, of course, many people are using this practice. It's really a practice, including you. Tell about your experience of talking. You actually...
I'll tell you one I haven't told you that I told some people yesterday, but one of this, I came into these retreats, and I think the reason you allowed me to be on stage is because I was so skeptical. And now I'm pretending to be skeptical because I want you to keep inviting me back. But once I'd had a really rotten stand-up set. It hardly ever happens to me. I went to a bar, and I was gonna drink, and I'm having a beer, and I get that thing, I don't know what you call it, you feel Maharaji, you feel, there's a thing, there's a sense, what you call imagination, which I don't know if that's what it is. I think it's very, very, very real. And so this feeling, oh, you need to talk to this guy sitting here, There's a guy sitting by himself, and we start talking. And he's unloading on me, And I was thinking of one of your lectures. You were talking about, I think, being pulled over by a police officer, and you're thinking of Krishna. You're meditating as you're driving, and you're in the moment with this person. You're in the moment with this person. So I try to apply some of the things I've learned from these retreats. I'll be in the moment with this person, non-judgmentally. I'm not going to get sucked into his drama, but simultaneously I'm going to listen and listen. I did, and listen to him for hours. And so at the end of the conversation, he said to me, I don't mean to freak you out, but I was going to kill myself tonight. And he said, and now I'm definitely going to kill myself. Just kidding. He said, I'm not going to do that now. And I'm so grateful that, he said, thank you for listening to me. And that was a moment where I thought, wow, that's what these things are for. It's not so that I could achieve some state of peacefulness or some kind of thing or another. It's just because at some moment, something like that will happen to you. And you might not even know it happened. And to me, that is Maharaji, It's this thing that just happens, and when it's there, the result is a sense of, as you say, yum, 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 yum. And so that's a story I don't think I told you.
That's a great story. Thank you. You have something that we talked about before we came up from the Gita, which I know you love, the Gita. Maybe you'd like to read that.
I mean, it feels a little redundant now, but I'll read it.
It is the Gita.
How dare me say the Bhagavad Gita is redundant. His ego is showing. This is a verse that when I first read it, it really confused me, and I remember this was in college, and people in the class were saying, this is the most terrible verse or terrible thing to say because it's so incredibly insensitive and incredibly inhuman. And maybe Ram Dass, you can explain it a little bit, but now I love this verse, but the verse is, The wise grieve neither for the living nor for the dead. There has never been a time when you and I and the kings gathered here have not existed, nor will there be a time when we will cease to exist. And that idea, you know, of not grieving, it's saying don't, the wise people don't even grieve. The process of grieving itself is in some way a result of delusion. And many people hear that and they think, oh, that's the most callous thing that it's so callous, it's inhuman. Yeah. So what do you think of that, Ram Dass, that idea of the wise not grieving?
How about that story of Maharaji, right? Do you remember that? When someone told Maharaji that an elderly lady had just died. You gotta help me. No, come along here for a sec, because Krishnadas remembers these stories better, but come on up and just tell this, okay? Or just come here. Yeah, it addresses directly this. You can be skeptical again, it's okay.
So Maharaji and Mr. Tiwari were on the roof of one of the temples hanging out, and Maharaji started to go into this ecstatic thing, and he was kind of floating around like this, dancing in kind of ecstasy, and he's saying, oh, she's gone, she's gone. This lady, this woman who served him for many years had died, apparently. He knew that. So he was going, oh, she's gone, she's left, she's gone, like this. So Tiwari, who had an incredible relationship with Maharaji, says to him, you butcher, she served you for so many years, and now look at you, you're dancing in ecstasy when she's dying? You're a butcher, you. And he looked at Tiwari and he just said, what? You want me to act like one of the puppets, like you?
Beautiful, yeah. And that's, you know, Ram Dass telling what Maharaji said around that Volkswagen bus story. It's all perfect from God realm, from non-dual realm of Maharaji. So, yeah, but I think that's what Krishna was saying in the Gita. So we're getting close to the end. I thought one thing we had... Wrong choice of words. We're getting close to lunch. And not the big lunch, the little lunch. Yeah, right. Yeah, right. I wonder, could you lead us in a heart meditation, perhaps? That would be lovely, or any meditation, but I was thinking heart guru, because we're talking about that.
This starts at ego. I am loving awareness. 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 Now you change it from I am loving awareness to loving awareness, loving awareness, loving awareness, loving awareness, loving awareness. You are aware of the air. voice. You're aware of your body. Your monkey mind. Just be aware and love. Aware and love. Loving awareness is another name for the soul. That's a combination of Maharaji and my Buddhist practice. I took the advice of Yogi Yogi. Yogi Berra.
When there's a fork in the road, take it. I do like what you said, this combination of the Buddhist practices that you've done and Bhakti Maharaji that is self-evident in all these retreats, and the way we come together and have people like Bob here now and Frank and Roshi who left is pretty rich. Right?
Rich.